I would like to see the Board of Health take a proactive role in a long-term plan for the town of Harvard as far as dealing with the Board of Health issues regarding funding for state and federal government. I believe we've started to work on a long-term plan of how to address the needs of the citizens here with the sewer system, with Devon's, also with the Title V septic systems and the new technology available there, how to implement that into Harvard and implement in that everyday life. The Board of Health can be a beacon for other areas in the town by taking a leadership role in being fiscally responsible while technically savvy. So I'd like to see them take a little bit more leadership role in how to use technology to solve some of these health concerns, especially mosquitoes and ticks.
What I view as important roles for the Board of Health is to make more information available to the community. There is a lot of information available, and I think it is incumbent upon the Board of Health that it is not the Board of Health that protects public health. It is also the individuals, and the way individuals can protect their health is also by being informed. And so there should be a forum where the Board of Health proactively puts out information that is useful to the citizens on a variety of topics. So I think putting information out, making it easily accessible to town residents is a role for the Board of Health. I also think a change that I would seek to make in the Board of Health is in its openness and ability to communicate effectively with town residents and other town boards, and to be approachable and listen to the residents. The town of Harvard voted to leave the mosquito control district many years ago, I think on the order of 18 or 20 years ago. It is a town decision. It actually would need to be on the warrant article and voted at town meeting should we wish to rejoin the Mosquito Control Commission. Should we wish to rejoin the Mosquito Control Commission, we would also have to include in that consideration the cost of rejoining. And the cost of rejoining the Mosquito Control Commission is actually set by the Department of Revenue. It's around $59,000 approximately per year, and it would be a 3-year commitment. What I see as the role of the Board of Health, like I said earlier, is to make the information available to people to weigh the pros and cons of such a decision, and to bring that information to the people and to present it at town meeting, and then it is the people of the town who make the decision.
I believe the town should be more proactive in its approach to mosquito and tick control. I believe we're the #1 town in Massachusetts as far as Lyme disease and the prevalence of that. I believe the commission is a one alternative. I don't believe it is the only alternative. I believe information should be given on again, different alternatives. There are now new, quote-unquote, green pesticides, which can be used and distributed by the town itself for both mosquitoes and tick control. But this would be something that would be for, again, a town Board of Health open meeting with a town discussion to weigh the pros and cons. But from our own living here and experience with ticks and mosquitoes, it is overwhelming the number of ticks and mosquitoes that are on both animals and even humans here. So I do believe we have the ability to use technology, use green technology, environmental friendly technology to help us control in a very positive manner both mosquitoes and ticks. And maybe not have to join the commission, maybe not have to spend $59,000 a year for mosquito and tick control, but can I find another way to do it? This is an issue that cuts directly to long-term planning. And from my understanding, again, it's very limited understanding at this time, but my understanding, the Harvard Board of Health and the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health work together. The Neshoba Associated Board of Health is a consortium of more than just Harvard's boards of health, and they have the last word mainly on issues to do with this. But I believe that the Department of Public Works is the overall leader in this and has the last decision on most of the issues for Title V and variances. But they are pulling out of it because of state funding and would like to, from what I hear, and would like to maybe rethink their position there. So we as a town have to think, okay, how do we handle less state, how do we handle the Department of Public Works not being a part of this change? Do we take responsibility here in the Board of Health, which I believe we should, and take more of an active role in our own community, in our own governance, with our own individuals?
The Neshoba Board of Health is actually serves as the technical consultant to the boards of health in the individual towns. They provide the inspectors for restaurants, they provide the inspectors for sightings of septic systems or new wells. But it is the Board of Health, it is the Harvard Board of Health that sets policy and makes decisions. The board would incorporate information brought to them by the Neshoba Board of Health representative. But it is the Board of Health in the town that has sole jurisdiction on all matters related to the protection of the health within the town. That includes the siting of wells, it includes the approval of septic systems, and it also involves the overarching regulation is that the Board of Health can regulate nuisances. There's a nuisance law that is the sort of final jurisdiction of the Board of Health to regulate impacts on public health if it is determined to be a nuisance. So actually it is the Board of Health in Harvard that sets the policy and makes all the decisions pertinent to Harvard with input, technical input from the representatives of the Board of Health, of the Neshoba Associated Boards of Health.
In light of the Commonwealth's repeated attempts and ultimate goal of divesting themselves of some of the oversight responsibilities through DEP of oversight for Board of Health policies and guidance, such as the requirement or attempt to have the towns become responsible for management of their own solid waste facilities. What would you do? How would you marshal the town's resources to address the issue of the local boards needing to do more with less?
I think you always look for efficiencies, and in terms of the exact funding for what they're asking the town to do, I'm not exactly sure the magnitude of that money. The funding that the state provides to the boards of health comes in part from an assessment on the town, in part from what the boards of health collects as fees for inspections and things. In terms of running, are you referring to running the treatment plant that is part of the town center? Or are you referring to the,
No, last year, the Commonwealth, the DEP made an attempt to have the town regulate the solid waste transfer site, the transfer station. And ultimately, because of pushback and the resources that were going to be required by the towns to actually oversee their own transfer station, the requirements we placed back on DEP for providing that information to ultimately facilitate the transfer were overwhelming, and they realized that it was more cost effective for them to continue doing that oversight. But the goal is to try to divest themselves because of manpower cutbacks at the state level, that the local boards be responsible for more and more of their own oversight.
it's a very difficult question, and it's a difficult time, and resources and expertise would have to be examined very carefully. And I think, pushing back on the state, especially when we're a small community, is an appropriate way to go.
In the face of dwindling resources on all levels, I believe that we can use technology to help us solve some of these problems. Secondly, I believe that the community of Harvard in the state, not only the community of Harvard, but the local communities have to work together, maybe again to form a consortium or work with our neighbors to solve some of these problems. Whether, again, I do not have all the answers, or I do not have all the even all the questions now, but we may need to work together to have a centralized waste station in one community, which may mean that we from Harvard have to drive, again, a sacrifice, but there has to be some community involvement by the Board of Health as a leadership role, and individuals in the community to solve these problems. I, as a member of the Board of Health, want to help the community with the information, provide them all the information, and help the individual homeowner achieve the goals that they want to achieve, whether it's the building of a new house, upgrading their sewer system, attaching another track of houses to the town center and the new sewage treatment plant there. Again, very centralized, but focused on the individual homeowner here in Harvard.